Hello and welcome to this video. I think I should put this, oh no, this is wrong. Welcome to this video. I think this is the best position for this thing, but I did not yet save this. Okay, let's get going in this rapid game on lead chess. I'm playing Raging Tiger here with the black pieces, and we got a Nimzo Indian with queen to c2. Yeah, here I can play various lines. Knight c6 was my book choice. I'm not sure that I feel adequately booked up in the other variations, so let's play it. Yeah, let's see. I hope I can do a decent job here. Didn't really have a good night's sleep. Yeah, it was just too hot. Bishop g5 and no, this is, I think, not correct. The d4 pawn is a, I mean, why don't you at least invest a couple of seconds? I'm not playing g5 just for fun. He could have played maybe some sort of d5. Now this is just not working at all. Queen a4 is running into bishop d7. The bishop is not hanging due to queen knight c2 check. Yeah, it's a big center pawn, not just any other pawn. It's an important thing to take into account. It's a difference if you win a center pawn or if you win an unimportant, relatively unimportant pawn at the side of the board. Why does he give me that tempo? I mean, bishop d7, you can argue about. It doesn't really help a lot, but it is probably somewhat useful. Okay, and all the way back. So what's happening here? I think, well, I think I just drop back to f5, being ready to take the bishop. So interesting idea is e5, trying to play h5 h4, just trapping the bishop there on g3. I think that makes quite some sense. So if I go h5 now, he will probably take. In this case, bishop takes, queen a4 does actually lose the bishop. This is important. He's actually threatening now to take and win my piece, so I think I'm going to take, and now probably h5, trying to harass the bishop with h4. Queen c2 maybe. Nope, takes it. Okay. And now this pin. Yeah, this is actually well played. I haven't, that's something I have not really appreciated fully. I didn't really see that this bishop takes and bishop h4 has this enormous annoyance value, really. Oh. I would like to play queen to e7, queen to e6, and then make the knight mobile again. It is an awkward pin, it really is. He currently, I think, cannot do all that much. Looks a little bit shaky. The whole construction looks shaky. Yeah. I was thinking just b6. Don't really see a problem with it. I'm still deeply annoyed by that pin. But maybe he doesn't really have anything to use this. I don't see anything great for him. The knight on d2 is quite passive. Maybe I was thinking e4 and then knight f1 e3, but knight is quite slow. I don't see a tactic. I will play queen to e6 and then move the knight. Almost no matter what. He can try to pry open the f-file with some castles and f3. Maybe this is actually a good idea. Nope, it's checking, simply checking me. Okay, bishop to d7, queen moves, and then move the queen and then the knight. Yeah, doing this with the tempo is making sense. Queen a6 might happen. No, just goes back. Okay, so here I will go queen e6. I absolutely want to unpin this thing. Unpin the knight. Castling, I will probably play bishop c6, intending knight d7, knight c5. That would be a good square. If he cannot somehow use that slightly unharmonious build-up with the queen on e6 and the knight on f6, if he does not have anything right now or in the next 1 or 2 moves, it should be very, very okay for me. Yeah, so do you stop it? I think I'll do stop it, the a pawn, because you know bishop c6, knight d7, c5, a4 is a target, so I want to fix that target. Don't want to allow him to push the pawn forward, potentially trade it on b6. Sorry for the yawning. It was written incredibly tiring experience, this knight somehow. The knight, not the knight on f6, but the knight, like darkness and so on. The knight. Okay, so I can just go here. I'm not sure. I think h3 might just help me. It doesn't help doesn't help white. I think knight d7 c5 will be very, very nice to get in. And currently g2 is just hanging. I mean, I was still rather more afraid of castling and f3, trying to open this up. I mean, the bishop on h4 is not so easy to get rid of. Okay, so here, yeah, a couple of things, but I think this is good. The knight on c5 will be deeply annoying. Oh, takes with the pawn there. I can... Queen takes is not such a bad idea, actually. But, I mean, pawn takes is extremely solid, but yeah, it's both pretty strong. So queen takes, bishop g3, h4. Yeah, it is also very good. I don't know. They both continuations are a lot better for black. Maybe if queen takes was even a bit more powerful, but not so easy to say. The problem is, I mean, he has to play, I think, bishop g3, g3. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I mean, both continuations, they don't look good anyway. But I thought bishop takes, bishop g3 is a bit more natural. Even though after f5 I'm threatening f4, and it's not quite clear what white's reply is. Yeah, okay, well here the blunder of the d4 pawn was already quite decisive. It's always tough for me to understand why. I mean, white obviously had no idea about this opening, and if you don't know anything about it, why play so quickly in the opening, and just think a bit about your choices. I mean, you can be reasonably sure that the opponent knows it. I mean, I'm a title player and so on. So why not invest a bit of time and try to figure it out? Maybe he thought it's such a harmless position. There is simply nothing to look at. But yeah, as we experienced, there is some bite with black's setup. The d4 pawn is under pressure, and bishop h4 already was a problem. Yeah, what is white doing now? I have an extremely nice control over the light squares. f3, e4. Yeah, this is possible. The question is, do I trade here or not? I can go knight e4. Bishop e4, he might take on c5. This is something that he can do anyway. Or knight e4 immediately is also quite good. With c4 hanging and so on. It's tough to say. Let's make a practical decision. Probably all continuations are pretty strong. White cannot castle long. I mean, c4 is hanging right away, and then a4 also hangs. difficult to suggest a move. Yeah, maybe knight d2. Get rid of the e4 knight. It's not a real solution, but you have to play something. I mean, yeah, but how do I actually continue? I would like to get the rooks into the game. Okay, the h rook is at least looking at this bishop, but rook on a8 doesn't do all that much. Just castling long would be good, but there's a bishop on h4. Maybe just king to f7 or so. It's a little bit, you're a little bit spoiled for choice. You can play many things that will be good. Yeah, kind of as expected. If you take here and king takes, maybe. Queen takes, c4 is hanging. I can also just let him take. That's also not bad. Bishop comes to f3. It will be terribly dominating, or even on e4 it will be very nice. King f7 was to connect rooks. It should be safe there on f7. I couldn't quite, I mean, long castling you cannot do with the bishop on h4, so a king move is probably best to connect the rooks. Yep. This is a fantastic piece on e4. Yeah, he will most likely cover the c4 pawn now with queen b3, most likely. I cannot put a rook on the d file. This is not so easy. So what to do? The easiest is probably to try to win the c4 pawn, which should be easily doable with bishop to d3. Yeah, win the pawn. Yeah, that should be very good for black. Don't see a defense to this. Yeah, the black king is also potentially somewhat weaker than mine. Okay, so here I take with the queen. That's queen to d7. That's something I definitely don't want to see. Yeah, queen to c6 is the most likely move. And now, yeah, probably go to c8, cover c7, and also bishop d5 intended to put it back on a dominating square like e4 or f3. Maybe rook to d1 now to prevent bishop d5. I also have pawn to d5. That would basically trade queens. That's not a bad continuation actually, just to trade the queens. it's complete control, and a4 is extremely weak. So okay, I'm happy to do this. Expel the queen. Queen will drop there, and now bishop here with queen a2 being an idea. However, then queen to d7 is going to happen. That I definitely have to prevent. Yeah, it was to be expected. Okay. It is a good square. I'm thinking about even queen e8, the keep it simple method. There's absolutely no reason to rush anything here. White has zero counterplay, and I don't mind to try around a little bit and see what happens. I can also play king g6, simply stepping out of any stepping out of any queen d7 check ideas in case of my queen moving. I can also just go c6 next. He will not be able to take due to rook b1, so no. Also, playing this a bit quickly is helpful, simply keeping more pressure on white. So I can play queen to b3 here. There is no trickery. There is no check. I'm attacking a4 as well. Yeah, there's no good move really. Maybe queen c2. Hoping for queen trade. Even that is strong for black, but I wouldn't trade queens. I would go to c4, dominating more. Maybe the move e4 is an idea to try to. It's actually that is a serious idea actually. e4, and after a capture, queen e3. What am I playing against e4? I have to take with a pawn, right? Queen e3, queen b1. Okay, so I have to take with a pawn. That's good to know. Bishop takes, queen e3 isn't all that clear. Check. Yeah, probably it should probably win. Should probably win as well, but I will take with a pawn. It's a clean solution. Yeah, white is running out of ideas a little bit. Bishop e7. I don't quite get the idea. After the queen capture on a4. Yeah, but I have queen a1. Yeah, I can actually check. Bishop d1. And bishop takes, I think, is probably a bit more precise. Yeah, queen e1 also wins, of course. His d6 bishop is hanging, so... So rook d8. There is no check. Yeah, and here you can transfer this to a endgame with the rook up. Yeah, so let's go to the analysis board and have a look if my conversion was fine. It was mostly a conversion because of the opening problems. Now I just get one line. I always like to have 3 lines. Okay, so I can jump back. I also made some mistakes, maybe in the technical phase of the game. So we had this, and this is perfectly normal. However, white normally goes step back to d2. It makes some sense. Usually you want to play bishop d2 and take, and bishop g5 just provokes h6. Sometimes having h6 on the board is a little bit of an advantage for white. For example, g4, g5 gets more interesting, or in some cases with h6, if you imagine black playing e5 later, there is a weak f5 square. This is all an idea with provoking h6. Yeah, bishop h4 runs into g5, and here white is clearly struggling. Even here, he played relatively quickly, I think, and d5 is maybe a bit more, a bit more testing. Yeah, and then he gifted me another tempo, which kind of was a bit strange. I mean, he invested some time, and it's quite clear that I play bishop d7. I'm not going to, I don't know, go back with the knight or something. Just winning a tempo. Yeah, here you can play a couple of things. The engine wants to take on c3, then knight f5, but knight f5 immediately is okay as well. e3, and here h5 wasn't so precise. Yeah, I think that's not what the engine gives, but I think I know it actually does give the line. Yeah, what the computer line here is very, very convincing, actually. I'm preventing e4, the bishop is on a strong square on c6. This looks a bit better. Yeah, and this I didn't like all that much, really, what I did here. Yeah, taking maybe better. Now here, this is not so easy. Yeah, e5 was slightly inaccurate, for sure. Yeah. And, I mean, I'm still happy with the position, but it wasn't the best, probably. b6. Queen b5 was also weird, just giving me time. Yeah, f3, something like that looks more testing. It's evaluated as just slightly better for black. Yeah, e4. Though those moves don't really add up. Yeah, now it gets very, very nice. Got many squares to attack, and some very convenient choices. This also looks good, but I didn't think it was as clear as pawn takes. I could have taken on a4 with the knight, but this is just a tempting square. King f7. Yeah, he thinks that knight c5 is better, but okay, it's a really totally winning position. And the only thing that is really important if you have a position that is completely overwhelming is just to not avoid any to avoid any counterplay that you can avoid. So you don't want to have difficult problems to solve anymore. I think it was quite reasonable. Rook a c8 was better, maybe. But yeah, in black's position is just a lot better. Yeah, computer finds a couple of or evaluate some moves as mistakes, but it doesn't really change the verdict of the position at all. Yeah, white ran into this opening mistake. Yeah, you have to, in that Nimzo with knight c6, here you have to mostly decide between a3 and like do this or take with the bishop, and in inserting this is actually quite useful. So I'm agreeing with everything, but now we should play bishop to d2, which is just keeping the material and leads to a typical complicated middle game where white is maybe a little bit better due to the space. Okay guys, thanks for watching.